A couple of months ago, we posted a video about Bape that somehow went viral but got taken down later for copyright infringement. So this is an updated video without the copyrighted part, but also with more info. While we of course go over the latest news about Bape, including its recent legal battle with Nike over their sneakers trademark. Let's get into it.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Bape is arguably one of the most iconic names in streetwear history. In the early 2000s, the Japanese brand was able to infiltrate and impose its influence first in the US and then the entire world. 15 years ago, the ape head was on every rapper's back. Kanye, Pharrell, Soulja Boy. The brand even ignited one of hip-hop's most legendary beefs that led to the outing of Drake's first child 15 years later, in one of the greatest diss tracks ever made.
We talking character, let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol.
More than a clothing brand, Bape is a staple in pop culture. So in today's video, we go over the story of one of streetwear's finest, how it went bankrupt at the peak of its hype, and what is left of it today, and why it took Nike 20 years to sue them.
Wake up. I said wake the fuck up. Sleepy time's over, little motherfucker. Let's go.
It all started in Japan, with this guy, Hiroshi Fujiwara, the founder of Fragment. You may have never heard of him, but there is a chance you have seen his work through his collab on sneakers with Travis Scott, his work on Rolex, or even Pokemon. Hiroshi Fujiwara, aka the godfather of streetwear, is an urban legend in his country. Music, fashion, and magazines, he was the reference of pop culture and helped shape Japanese streetwear from 1980 to now, through the mentoring of Jun Takahashi, founder of Undercover, Shinichiro Nakamura, known by most as Skate Thing, who participated a lot in the creation of brands like Billionaire Boys Club and Cav Empt, and Tomoaki Nagao, better known today as Nigo, the founder of Bape. Nigo came from a middle-class family, which often translates to very busy parents. As his parents spent much of their time working, Tomoaki spent a lot of time on his own. Indulging in television, he watched a lot of popular films, anime, and of course, music videos. Most of the media he consumed was American, or at least inspired by American culture. What would normally sound like a sad childhood turned out to be a blessing, because it would help shape the visions he had for the future. Between the rise of hip-hop and streetwear, young Tomoaki was kept busy. His love for American culture led him to discover and admire Hiroshi Fujiwara, who is one of the main people credited for popularizing hip-hop and streetwear throughout Japan. Having developed an interest in fashion, he registered after high school as a student at one of the top fashion colleges around, the Bunka Fashion College, where also emerged the Japanese designer Kenzo, the founder of a brand he would later work on. In college though, he claimed to have learned absolutely nothing, because he spent more time partying than studying. But once again, what seemed like self-inflicted misfortune turned out to be a blessing. During those years, he got a job as a DJ and slowly gained notoriety for his playlist and style, both heavily inspired by the US rap scene. Soon the news about this young man with a new and fresh style traveled around Tokyo and reached Hiroshi Fujiwara, who reached out and offered him a job as his assistant. Along with his idol, he worked on different projects, such as Good Enough, a clothing brand, and the Takarajima magazine, the exact magazine from which he learned about his idol as a kid. It is also through this collaboration with Hiroshi Fujiwara that he got the nickname Nigo, which means the second. People around town thought he looked a lot like Hiroshi Fujiwara, so they started to call him Hiroshi Nigo, aka Hiroshi Second, and later they simply referred to him as Nigo. With the help of their mentors, Nigo and Jun Takahashi opened their first store called Nowhere, where they sold good enough merchandise, and a curation of popping brands before Jun Takahashi created his brand Undercover, which was an immediate hit. Nigo too was looking for an idea for a brand, and it was while he was on a 5-hour marathon of the Planet of the Apes with Jun Takahashi that the idea of Bape came to them.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
The name Bape was an homage to the movie, but also a reference to a Japanese idiom, a bathing ape in lukewarm water. A tongue-in-cheek nod to the overindulgence of the young streetwear consumer. And just like that, Bape was born. Jun Takahashi designed the logo, Nigo had the Nowhere store to sell his items, and the Takarajima magazine to promote them. Everything started fine. His first products were very simple, just t-shirts with an ape head on them. But his greatest strength came from his branding. After spending all this time around Hiroshi Fujiwara, he learned a lot about how important perception and image are to a brand. He knew that people, before the price or even the quality, cared more about the exclusivity of a product. So he decided to sell only 50 t-shirts a week at a high price to give the brand a semblance of luxury. His technique, despite being risky, proved right, and the hype around his brand grew over time. As Bape grew bigger, he ended up selling it in more stores, at one point reaching more than 40 stores. But one day, out of nowhere, he pulled the plug and decided to only sell in his Bape store to make the brand less accessible and more exclusive once again. This was a risky move, but it ended up paying off because it only furthered the hype around the brand. Over time, he dropped iconic pieces like the Bape camo and the shark hoodie, both designed by Skate Thing once again. He also released the famous Baby Milo around that time. But what catapulted the brand to the forefront of mainstream American streetwear was a bootleg of the Air Force One, better known as the Bapesta, released in 2002. After the release of the shoes, everything went very fast. Pharrell Williams met Nigo during a trip to Tokyo and soon after became one of the biggest advocates of the brand in the US. But unlike popular belief, Pharrell wasn't the first rapper to wear the brand in the US. Through Pharrell, Nigo also met Kanye, and just like that, Nigo made connections in the music industry, and Bape soon was everywhere. For many years, nobody knew exactly why Nike had never sued Bape, and many theories emerged. Some suggested that the patent of the Air Force One had expired since it was old, and others talked about Nike secretly owning Bape, but that was always hard to believe. Some people claimed it was because of the laws in Japan that would make it hard for Nike to win. But the facts finally came out after more than 20 years through a lawsuit. Early last week, it was reported that Nike has finally filed a trademark lawsuit against Bape. The lawsuit claimed Nike and Bape had worked out a deal in 2009 and came to an agreement that Nike wouldn't take any action so long as Bape continued to sell most of its products in Asia. That's where it had more of an audience, and also to redesign the flagship of the Bapesta sneaker. Bape did what they were asked, and Nike never sued them. As to why exactly Nike even waited 7 years to get in touch with Bape, to me, it's obviously because of this part of the story, and it's not all that well known by most. It's bankruptcy. See, from 2004 to 2008, Bape was in its prime in numbers. But despite that, the company was headed to bankruptcy around 2009. Nigo, the founder, had made a lot of bad investments. He opened way too many stores too quickly, and he even tried new things like Bape restaurants and Bape hair salons. He later admitted in an interview that he was not good with money and should have just focused on creating. Spending more than he was making, those bad investments left him and the company with more than $50 million in debt. And on February 7th, 2011, Nigo took a payout and sold Bape for less than $3 million. So it makes sense as to why Nike did not sue Bape back then. They just weren't worth much. Bape got away with just the requirements to modify their shoes a little and stay out in Asia. And according to Nike in the suit, the brand obliged until 2021. But since then, Nike claimed that the brand has upped its presence in North America. And not only that, they also claimed that Bape copied the design of other Nike shoes like the Nike Dunks and the Air Jordan 1. And they are now asking for 3 times the amount made in damage. Nike has been cracking down on people copying their designs a lot more in recent years. We've seen it with the Warren Lotas, Omi, or even Skechers. I have also noticed that now they send lawsuits and cease and desists to Instagram and YouTube sneakers custom pages. This is just an opinion, but I think they're going hard right now because, let's be honest, their designs in recent years haven't evolved, and they haven't been able to create many new successful designs. They have been releasing their classics in different colors, and I think that they know that after a while this will not be a sustainable method, so they're getting rid of anything that might accelerate that process. There are only so many colors you can do before people get tired. Those are my thoughts, but let me know what you think in the comments. I'll keep you updated on Instagram about the Nike lawsuit. As for Nigo, he stayed the director artistic for the brand for some time after the new owners took over. But once the brand was bought by a corporate, it never was the same ever since. Everybody behind Nigo stopped supporting the brand soon as he left. The lack of creativity and innovation, combined with quick overproduction through too many collaborations, led to the downfall of the brand today. I also think the brand stayed monotone and has not evolved in recent years. Today's fashion and streetwear culture are very dark-toned in terms of color, so the bright colors of Bape hardly fit in. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think. Around 2016 though, the brand made somewhat of a comeback, but it was nothing new and the trend died quickly. Bape is still one of, if not the most iconic streetwear brand, so I don't think it'll ever completely disappear, but I also don't see it peaking back anytime soon. Remember that Skechers won their battle against Nike, so maybe Bape has a chance. We'll see. Back to Nigo again. Life has been good to him ever since he left Bape. In 2010, he launched his new brand, Human Made. In 2014, he became the creative director for Uniqlo's UT brand. In 2020, he partnered with Louis Vuitton alongside Virgil Abloh to create a capsule collection. And in September 2021, Kenzo appointed him as its new artistic director. That's it for today. Like and subscribe. If you ever wondered about the origins of the Black Air Force meme, we just posted a video about it and you can watch it here. See you soon, and peace!